Give me a minute and let's talk about what Dylan Malyasov is reporting in the defense blog. And for those interested, he spells that the British way, Defence, the defense blog. And so Mr. Malyasov is saying that the Russians are now redeploying, reactivating, pulling out of museums, basically, the Beryov 12 mail carrier seaplanes. Now, why would you be doing that? What would be the purpose of taking out of mothballs 70-year-old prop planes, right? So these things fly at about 10,000 feet at about 330 miles an hour. And so they're out of range of much of the air defense systems that Ukraine has if they stay around Crimea. Now, for those of you that follow the channel, you may remember we talked about the 20% of the Black Sea fleet that Ukraine has destroyed in the last 5 months. And specifically the kinds of ships that they've been targeting. It has not been random. It's been very specific. Landing ships for the resupply of Crimea, missile-carrying ships, the Corvette class and frigates that fire missiles into, at Ukrainian civilians every day. The missile-carrying Kilo-class submarine, the Rostov-on-Don. And last but not least, the patrol boats. The patrol boats. I think Russia only had 5 patrol boats at the beginning of the conflict. And with the Montreux Convention in place, they can't get more patrol boats in. And so they can't go out right. They only had 5, if I'm not mistaken, they only had 5 at the beginning of the conflict. And the Ukrainians have taken out at least 3. So they don't have the ability to patrol the seas the way that they did, and there's danger on them seas in the form of these new surface drones, these unmanned surface drones, right? So what Dylan is saying here is that they're going to use these planes to find and target the surface drones, which this plane, though also a mail carrier, is also a reconnaissance plane. And so it's got the sensor equipment, and that, of course, can be upgraded to find those drones. And then it's got bomb bay doors, and it can actually target them with torpedoes and bombs. And as I say, at 10,000 feet, at 330 miles an hour, it's out of range of most of the surface-to-air missile systems. But this thing is 70 years old. It's a turboprop. It's got a radar cross-section like a Mack truck. For the F-16s, this will be like shooting fish in a barrel. This is target practice. This is a joke. And it belies the desperation of the Russians in a big way. They are so desperate because sanctions are killing them. I don't care what anybody says. Every time a Boeing 747 lands in a field, you can be sure sanctions are to blame. Well, no, the fact that the Russians stole that 747, that's what's to blame. Sanctions are working. And so what choice do the Russians have? They can't get more patrol boats into the Black Sea. They got to patrol the Black Sea. So they dig out these museum pieces in a desperate attempt to counter the Ukrainians. They're literally devolving in front of our eyes. They're going from an army that behaves as if it's World War I to an army that is armed as if it's World War I. And they're facing all the power of modern Western weapons end the righteous wrath of the Ukrainian people. That is a losing formula, boys. That is a losing fucking formula. Beryov 12s back in action. You go, Moscow. You go, boy.